Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the super battleship Satsuma. With update 14.0, we got a lot of balance changes, and we got some changes to Satsuma, specifically regarding its combat instructions, its F key. This funny button, giving you 35% better accuracy. That has not changed, but what has changed is how you charge up this F key. And in my opinion, I think they've actually nerfed it here, which is probably a good thing. This is how the F key should have been charged from the beginning, in my opinion. They've changed it, so you actually have to hit your target to apply progress to gaining this F key. Previously, all you had to do was land shells near your target. So even if you missed, you still got rewarded, which I think is silly. We shouldn't be rewarded for missing our target, right? I think we should be rewarded for hitting our target, which is not that difficult to do in a Satsuma, given the accuracy is already quite strong here, with good shell velocity as well. So this ship now gains 8% charge with every shell hit. This is really, really important because it works out, you need 12.5 shell hits to get a full charge. So 13 hits, which is doable in 2 salvos. Notice this game though, 2 salvos wasn't quite enough. So on average, I think you're gonna need 3 salvos to actually charge up this F key. Previously, these combat instructions required 10 adjustment firing salvos required to activate combat instructions, which is not only fewer salvos needed or fewer shells required, but also you got rewarded for your near misses. So a bit of a nerf, in my opinion, but warranted. This ship is incredibly powerful. You still have this insane F key. Just look at the dispersion we're getting out of this ship. Cross maps into a Castilla here, broadside on. Oh yes, that's what we love to see out of a battleship. Broadside punished successfully. I absolutely adore Satsuma. This is one of my favorite ships in the game these days. It does so well in this passive meta. In fact, I've been running a bit of a meme build sometimes where I run range mod and I pre-kite, meaning I turn instantly and then reverse towards the enemy team instantly in the match. Not a great way to play the game, certainly rather lame, I would say. Yet there's a very little consequence for doing this, since the ship is so good at long range. The dispersion, the overmatch, it's absolutely crazy. That poor Rune did not deserve to take that much damage, yet he did, because of this overmatch gimmick. Unfortunately for that tier 9 Rune player. Into a main here now at 21 kilometers, and I mean, we're almost at 100k here in 5 minutes, and we're pretty far away from the enemy. Satsuma fits in to this passive meta incredibly well. 17,000 damage, even into an angled main. Does not matter. This ship is absolutely crazy. So a bit of a nerf, maybe. This ship is already incredibly powerful. I just love the way these combat instructions work now. It's so much more intuitive. You're rewarded for your hits. So there was no guessing around whether or not near misses actually got you progress or not. I think it's silly to reward misses, in my opinion. It just doesn't make any sense. I really, really like that it's changed to a very simple, easy to understand, easy to go for. Hits on target give you your reward of this combat instruction. It also has an interesting interaction when ships go dark, when they get undetected, when maybe you're blind firing people, you still get combat instructions progress. One of the most annoying parts of playing Satsuma or any of these ships where you had to get near misses on enemy ships to actually activate or gain progress for these combat instructions was if an enemy ship was going undetected. They have a small fade out animation where you still have lock on. But for whatever reason, however they were dealing with this activation of these combat instructions, you didn't always gain progress when the ship was going undetected if you shot during that period. So there were times when an enemy ship would start to go undetected, I would quickly shoot because I still wanted to get that salvo out, and I wouldn't get rewarded at all, even for hits, which was very annoying. Now we'll see in a future clip that they've actually changed that. Hits are hits, doesn't matter. and you get rewarded for it. Really nice change, simplifies it, less frustrating overall, simpler. I like it a lot. And I think it's a justifiable nerf to this ship. You see how the dispersion is with this ship without the combat instructions, let alone these combat instructions. You don't need that on every second salvo, let's be honest. Or every third salvo, I suppose. That is crazy stuff. Montana, unfortunately, our shells landed short there a little bit. I should have aimed a little bit higher on that F key salvo. But when he's angled, we still do over 30k damage. Absolutely insane. Insane level of damage from this ship. Satsuma, unfortunately, fits this meta incredibly well. If you're looking for a battleship to play, just to chill out and relax, as I sometimes am, pre-kited Satsuma does a pretty good job into this meta, guys. You're not punished at all for missing your salvos when you're at close range, because you're not at close range. We've all been there, where you have that close range salvo, you need to dev strike that one ship, or at least finish off that one ship that is sneaking up on your broadside at close range, and the shells fall short, or they land all over the place, or you get the dreaded overpens, right? Well, that doesn't happen at longer ranges. I've been having a very relaxing time playing Satsuma pre-kited. I know. This is the exact playstyle I hate so much. I complain about it nonstop. Why is everybody camping? It's so annoying. But now that I've tried it, I can understand it a little bit more. I gotta say, I've been enjoying Satsuma quite a lot. And I should play more aggressive than this. This is really more to just prove a point, I suppose, that Wargaming rewards this playstyle. This is a playstyle that you can easily be rewarded for, and you really don't get punished for. Even carrier games, where we're relatively on our own here. We're so far away that the carrier is just less incentivized to go for us because he has a longer travel time to come strike us. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. This game does not reward you for pushing. You are definitely incentivized to kite, especially at longer ranges. Or sorry, higher tier is more focused around longer ranges. As you get into this top tier meta, it gets more passive. If you're looking for that more closer range, more brawly playstyle, or even just mid-range playstyle, you really have to play below tier 8. I would say tier 7, tier 6. I have a lot of fun there. Certainly do play quite a few games in those mid-tier battleships. There's a lot of fun to be had. There we go on a broadside Zhao that we shot while he was dark. That was a blind fire. Yet we still got progress towards our combat instructions. Very, very nice. I really like this change, I gotta say. I think it works out to a bit of a nerf, but in that case, it is a small buff to the ship, giving you the opportunity to gain combat instruction progress, even on ships that are going undetected or a blind fire. Really, really nice. I think this simplification is really, really good for the Satsuma F key. And they changed a lot of the other F keys as well. Hanover, Ushikov. We will take a look at some of those in the future, but to start with, I had to look at the Satsuma first, as this one is the most reliant on hits. The other ones actually have some gimmicks or take some inspiration from Libertad combat instructions. Hanover, you gain progress via some secondaries as well. Secondary hits as well as main gun hits give you progress. And on Ushikov, you actually get some progress, a tiny amount, for potential damage. You're rewarded for tanking in that one, as well as hits on target. So really cool that they're changing all of these to be more focused around hits on target. I don't know why it was ever rewarded for misses to begin with. To me, that seemed silly, as always, but very good. Very good change here, as well as probably a bit of a nerf overall, which is probably warranted given the insane power level that especially the Satsuma has here. Iwami broadside at pretty far range. I don't think I quite lead this one enough. And you may be wondering, why am I holding on to this F key? Well, there's a carrier in this game, and you notice his last known position is within our gun range at the moment, and very broadside. Potentially, he's moving up towards the northern part of the map, and I'm just hoping, I am hoping, that he gets spotted at some point. We're gonna greed out these combat instructions. I also found I did not charge these nearly as often. I've talked about it as a bit of a nerf, as the number of salvos or the number of hits you need is more than before, but also just that this ship requiring a few more hits means you're less likely to charge it consistently when there's intermittent spotting. Again, greeting out this F key. Don't even use it on the broadside Smolensk, slowing down in smoke. Maybe not the best decision on my part, but hey, we still managed to get him. And unfortunately, I never got an opportunity on the carrier. That's maybe the saddest part about that one. So we'll move on to the last game I have to show for you. 12 minutes left on the clock. Well, 12 and a half, I suppose. And in this match, I had not charged this F key until just now. This salvo here will charge it up. This whole time, I had not charged my F key this entire game because of the intermittent spotting. Without carriers to give you that consistent early game spotting that is so oppressive to deal with, for a Satsuma, it's very nice to help you charge up this F key rather quickly. But in games without that, you're going to notice that you don't as consistently charge up this F key in the early game. It can take a while for those battles to fully engage on the flanks, for everyone to be sort of spotted more consistently. Now we charge it here, broadside Buffalo. Oh yes, I mean, poor tier 9s, let's be honest. They don't belong in Super Ships Matchmaker. I don't think Super Ships should ever be fighting tier 9s. The power level is just absurd. So Dev Strike, cool, feels pretty good, I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, poor Buffalo, poor Arun, right, in the last video clip, or in the last game as well. It feels bad, man, fighting against these poor tier 9s. The power level jump from tier 10 to Super Ships, I would say, is more than the jump from tier 9 to tier 10 or tier 8 to tier 9. So as much as it sucks being a tier 8 or a tier 9 fighting against tier 10s, the tier 9 versus Super Ship matchup is even worse, in my opinion, and shouldn't really exist. Although, given how long some of the queue times can be playing some of these Super Ships, especially in off primetime hours, I suppose Wargaming wouldn't want to limit the matchmaker more than they already have for these Super Ships. So I doubt we'll see that anytime soon, but I mean, even this Navarin here, look at the damage output, right? He's going to have to deal with just overmatching salvos into a ship that cannot deal with this. This is Bao, he's playing his best. He's trying to get in brawling range with those insane fire starting secondaries. And I mean, front guns, 4 for 4, 21,000 damage. That is absolutely wild. Satsuma does have some weaknesses, though, I will have to point out. This Navarin player is gonna, he knows where to aim, and he's gonna do a great job here of dealing a ton of damage to us. Satsuma is quite vulnerable at close range. It has the weakness of these cheek citadels, as well as its upper belt being only 32 millimeters. So if you can catch this thing at close range, Yamato as well, certainly they are weaker at close ranges. The hull is one of the worst in the entire game as far as battleships go. One of the most exposed citadels, one of the least protected upper belts in the game. So destroyer AP, if you have high DPM destroyer AP and you find one of these broadside, even at 10, 11, 12 kilometers, you're gonna just crush this ship. You're going to get so much damage on that upper belt. It feels good, actually, to finally get the chance to do that, because most of these ships, like I played in this game, are going to be played very, very far back, relying on their accuracy and overmatch. So when you finally do get to chunk into one with that AP, it feels pretty good. It is a weak point, though, of Satsuma. Greeding out, hoping for a dev strike on the Amagi, no Citadel, unfortunately. Ignoring even a Smolensk. I know, but I really wanted that another dev strike in this game. Over 250,000 damage, at least once we do manage to finish off this Amagi here. And last we have to deal with is the Smolensk here. So he's caught broadside on to us at 11 kilometers. What's gonna happen? We've seen this ship absolutely crushing everything in its path. Of course, I gotta remind you that overpen light cruiser tech does work, at least at close range. At those further ranges, maybe that's incentive to play at further ranges again. The tech does not work for light cruisers. We were able to dev strike that Smolensk in the earlier game, but not at closer ranges. So maybe more incentive to play further back. I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be saying that, but it worked pretty well, man. I gotta say, this kited out Satsuma worked insanely well. As much as I would love for this game to be more close range focused, man, sometimes just giving in and playing the meta, it's kind of nice. It really is. And Satsuma absolutely crushes people in this long range meta, especially long range angled meta. This Overmatch just is absolutely amazing. I'm greeting out a bit of a build here with heavy AP as well as Furious, which you can do when you play so safe at the back of the map. It's so effective, man. You can greet out these upgrades. You can even, like, I'm dropping fire prevention. You should never do this, man. Like, that's like Battleships 101. Never drop fire prevention. But when I play like this, man, let's be honest, camping like a coward at the back, I'll admit it. It works. It works very well. It's crazy. It's sad. I wish Wargaming didn't reward this so much, but this is what I was running. I should run reload, okay? I'll run reload. But these combat instructions, man, this is the way it should have been from the start, in my opinion. Very nice change. Very simple, easy to understand. Just hit a target and you get 8%. Just very easy like that. No worrying about... It's a bit of a small use case or outside edge case when a enemy ship is about to go dark or is in the process of going undetected. You shoot in that scenario, at least before you used to shoot in that scenario, you wouldn't always get rewarded. So maybe that didn't happen very often. Maybe I'm overstating that, but it was annoying when it did happen, and I noticed it because I tend to take those greedy salvos on ships that are going dark or those blind fires, like on that Zhao, right? Sometimes I get rewarded for it. I've gotten okay at doing that, although, let's be honest, I miss most of the time. But it's fun to go for those salvos, and it's nice to be sometimes rewarded for it. And yes, that dreaded Yamato-style hull, man. Oh, look at this. This is... I mean, that's just very, very weak. And if you know where to aim, that angled Citadel armor, yes, that's where that Navarin hit us, man. Back in the corner here. And it's less armored, too. You get 460 on the belt, but then only 360 back here. And it's not angled in such a way where you're auto-bouncing here. It's angled so that it actually helps you when the Satsuma or Yamato is... If you're using all of your guns, you can get cheeked, is basically how it works. So you have to angle more and not use your front or rear guns, depending on how you're positioned, to actually stay safe from that cheek Citadel. And then, of course, the difficult part is it's 32 everywhere. There's no icebreaker. So against other ships that have 32 mil overmatch, this armor plating basically doesn't exist. So this is your armor. Good luck at close range, man. All of this just reinforcing play further back, play at longer range. And it does very well at those ranges, but it does make for a bit of a passive meta, I gotta say. But Satsuma fits it very well. I love this change to combat instructions. I'm gonna take a look at the other ones as well, don't you worry. But there's so many ships to take a look at in these 14.0 balance changes, so it takes me a while to get through them. But I hope you guys enjoyed, had a lot of fun playing Satsuma for this one. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.